Good morning. I'm up here at Lost Lake, and this is in the northern part of Rocky Mountain National Park. This is about 9.7 miles out from the trailhead. Took me 4 hours and 20 minutes to get out here. And if you want to see that part of the hike, you're gonna have to watch part 1. And the next destination from here is to take it back down the trail and then bushwhack over to Lost Falls. It's about 11 o'clock right now, and I've been sitting up here for nearly an hour, but it's time to go. It's time to head on back. And right out there on that rock is where I was sitting to dip my feet, which felt amazing because the water was cold, but not too cold. However, I've got my boots strapped back on, and I'm ready to take it down to Lost Falls. Let's do it. And like I had mentioned in part 1, I was out here last week and I had attempted Lost Falls. And at the time I thought I was Adam. But then when I got home and I compared my footage to the picture in Lisa Foster's book, I quickly realized I was not Adam. I mean, I was at some pretty cool looking waterfalls, but compared to the picture in the book, they looked tiny. So that's why I'm back out here again. It's because I got to get redemption. And sadly, it looked like I had walked right on past him when I checked the GPS, which really burned me up. So I think I know exactly where to go now. We're gonna get him. I don't care if I've got to walk up and down that river. I'm gonna find those falls. And you might be like, I didn't see your hike fail video for that. That's because I did not post it publicly. So what I did instead is I made that a Patreon exclusive video. I posted it only for the Patreons. I figure I got to give them something special every now and then for helping to support the channel, because I love my Patreons. They are the best. And although I've already chugged my vitamin water, ate a beef stick, and a bag of cinnamon chip churro strips, I've still got a little bit of food on hand. I've got a second bag of cinnamon chip churro strips, a second beef jerky stick, I've got some noon tablets, and I've still got my caffeine beans. So I'm looking good. Real good. And then also what I was doing is while I was sitting up there at Lost Lake, I was filling up my bottle and drinking water with the life straw. That way it was conserving the water in my camelback so I could still continue to drink while I hiked and didn't have to worry about running out and then finding a spot off the trail to fill up. And so far that's working out great because I've got plenty of water in the camelback. And coming down this trail is nice and relaxing. I mean, it really wasn't that bad going up, but it's even better going down. Yeah, this is a cakewalk. Yeah, locating Lost Falls is going to be quite tricky. I got my fingers crossed that I'll be able to pull it off this time. But what I should have done was take a picture of the picture in Lisa Foster's book, so I knew exactly what to look for. But did I do that? No, of course not. That would have made things way too easy. So on the drive out this morning, I remembered that I had forgotten to do that, so I pulled over while I still had phone signal, and I tried to find a picture of Lost Falls, and I was going to save it to my phone, and I only found like one picture, and it looked like the exact same spot that I was at last week. Yeah, I thought that was the picture, and then I started looking closer, and I'm like, that's where I was at. I mean, I was at some pretty cool waterfalls. They just weren't Lost Falls. Check them out. I've almost made it back down to the Stormy Peaks trail split. And from that point is where I'm gonna split off the trail and start bushwhacking it down to the water. And the falls should be pretty much straight to the south of it. And although it's a pretty short bushwhack, only looking at about 1/10 of a mile, it is nasty back there. Really nasty. There are no straight lines whatsoever. You gotta zigzag all over the place to try and get through it. All right, and in 55 minutes from leaving Lost Lake, I've made it back down to the Stormy Peaks trail split. And what I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna take it down the trail a little further, and then I'm gonna start the bushwhack straight south. Because where it shows the trail split on my GPS and where it actually is like 2/10 of a mile away from each other. They're not in the same spot at all. But it looks like if you would head straight down from the trail split on the GPS, it looks like it's gonna lead straight to Lost Falls. So I'm gonna try that this time. I feel like I can hear them down there. Yeah, according to the GPS trail split, which like I was saying is not even in the same spot as the real trail split in reality. Yeah, if you go straight down from that one and then cut it over to the west like 100 yards, that makes sense. But if you do that from where the trail split really is, you're not gonna find them. Not at all. They're completely in the opposite direction. And I'm continuing to go down the trail, taking it past the big rock wall here. And here soon, I need to start looking for a way to start bushwhacking down. And right past this little waterfall, just off the trail, is where I'm gonna start looking for a way down. And this looks nasty through here. My goodness. Actually, that doesn't look too bad right through there. Yeah, right here at this slight bend in the trail, just before the waterfall, as you're coming up, is where my GPS is showing the Stormy Peaks trail split. And this is where I'm gonna split off and start heading downhill. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad actually, compared to what I've been looking at. All right, let's do it. Let's get wacky. And I just turned on my GPS tracking. I'm gonna route this. I have not been routing the hike thus far. It's all been on the trail. I figure I didn't need to use up the memory on it. But yeah, this doesn't look too bad at all. This is what I'm talking about. I can't even begin to describe how much easier this is than what I did last week. Yeah, this has been pretty easy so far. Although it looks like it's gonna get worse down here towards the water. I'm getting a lot closer. I can actually see part of the water down there. And it sounds like there are some waterfalls down here. Oh yeah, this is definitely Lost Falls down here. These falls are about 4 times taller than what I saw last week. Oh wow. Wow. Just hold tight. Better views are coming. And check it out, guys. Lost Falls. And I think it's safe to say that these are the Lost Falls. Wow, those are awesome. I got my backpack right over there. And I think I'm only seeing the bottom half of the falls. So I'm gonna try and take it up the side here and see if I can see the top of it. But I don't know. This looks pretty brutal through here. And I had to make some sketchy moves to get up to this point. I was trying to drop it down onto this ledge right here. However, it slopes right on off right there. And if I mess up, I'm dead. And it's just a little too far to jump down. It's not safe. Actually, where I'm sitting is not safe at all either. Yeah, I'm sitting on this little angled rock that slopes right on off. I can feel my butt going down a little bit. So after I get done recording this shot, I'm getting the heck off this. I'm gonna go ahead and record this in case it's the last thing I ever do. And if it is, just know I love you guys. Thanks for watching the videos. All right, let's do it. Oh my God. I think you could have done that without the sound effects, Nick. Okay, that really wasn't that bad. Whew. Whew. I climbed up as high as I could, and it's showing the falls just off to my left here, but I can't get a good view of them. Not from this vantage point. I think what I'm gonna have to do now is hike it all the way back down and then take it out a little further to where I can see the top part. Epic views from up here though. Looking awesome. And like I said, I made some sketchy moves coming up this part through here. And check this toad out. That might be a boreal toad. I'm not really sure. I'm not the expert on toads. I'm probably scaring the heck out of him right now. Sorry, little buddy. I somehow made it back down here to the base of the falls, and this is the best shot I can get of them. This is the only place that I have found where I can actually see the top part, but just barely. Yeah, I literally climbed like all the way up there on top of those rocks, but there's just no way you can get over to the edge to look down onto the water. I think this is as good as it's going to get. It is just now 1:30, and I've been fiddle farting around at what I think is Lost Falls for quite a while. However, I've got a 7.5 mile hike back, so it is time to go. It's time to head on back. All right, let's do it. Let's take it on back. And see this right here? This actually looks like the old remnants of a trail. Whoa. And I'm just bushwhacking out of here. I've made it through the worst part, down there at the bottom towards the water. That's where a lot of the down trees are at. And the rest of this is just a grind to get back up to the trail. And if that was not Lost Falls, then I give up. I tap out. I won't try and find them anymore. But I mean, those had to be Lost Falls. It had them labeled on the GPS. It's just that I feel like Lisa Foster's picture looked slightly different. I don't know. I'm gonna have to get home and compare it. And where is this cotton picking trail at? And in 15 minutes, I've made it back up to the trail. And this is the exact same spot that I dropped in. And right up the trail is where that waterfall is. And this is exactly where it shows the Stormy Peaks trail split on my GPS. This exact spot. I'm so glad to be back on the trail. And I was able to get through that entire bushwhack without ripping my pants or my shirt. So that's good. I almost felt like there was a little trail going down there. It seemed worn out in spots. And if you follow Lisa Foster's instructions and then pretend like that's where the actual trail split is, it's exactly what she says. Go straight south for like 1/10 of a mile and then cut it upstream for like 100 yards. And there they are, Lost Falls. And that is exactly what I just did. It's just, there's no trail split where I dropped in. It only shows it on the maps. So yeah, those are tricky. I can see why they're called Lost Falls. And this is going to be one heck of a hike back. I'm looking at over 7 miles right now. It's about 150 or so. I'm thinking I should get back to my car around 5. And my right knee is hurting. And that's my good one. I smashed it a couple weeks ago at work, and it's been hurting ever since. However, at least I'm not hiking down with wet boots and muddy pants. Yeah, last week I stepped in this mud hole, and My leg literally went all the way down in it, up to the back of my knee. I didn't think I was going to get my leg out of there. And if I did, I thought it was going to pull my boot off. It was ridiculous. Just this muddy hole, and my boots got caked with mud. Check it out. And I just sunk down to my knee in that mud right there. I'm not kidding. Look at that. And right here, that's where I'm gonna take my bath. So what I had to do is sit there at that little waterfall that was off the trail, just up from where I bushwhacked. And I had to scrape the mud off with my fingers and then soak my boots in the water to try and clean them off. So I had to hike down with wet boots for 7+ miles. I'm passing back by the sign for the Happily Lost campsite. So I'm getting down there. I've probably got over 6 miles left. And the sky has clouded up. I'm thinking it might rain on me. I don't really care all that much. A little rain might actually feel good. I sure hope I didn't step on any boreal toads during that bushwhack. Man, they could have been under that grass and I would have never known. Because this is some boreal toad territory out here. Kettle Tarn is just up past the north boundary trail split, and they've actually got that closed off for the summer for the protection of the boreal toads. That had to be Lost Falls. I don't see how it couldn't have been. I'm not sure where they label waterfalls on GPSs and stuff, if they put the label right at where the top of the falls are at. But, I mean, that's right where they should have been. It was a massive waterfall. I'm telling you what, I'm going to be pissed off if I get home and I look at the picture in the book and it doesn't look anything like what I saw. I am gonna flip out. And when you guys hear me talk about Lisa Foster's book, I'm talking about the book that's titled Rocky Mountain National Park, The Complete Hiking Guide by Lisa Foster. That's where I go to research 99.9% of my hikes in Rocky Mountain National Park and the surrounding area. It is fantastic. It's like my Bible. No joke, I've used that book so much that the pages are almost falling out of it. It's 2:30 right now, and I'm passing back by the halfway campsite sign. And that also indicates that I've come down 1,400 feet from Lost Lake, and I've got roughly 1,400 more to get back down to the trailhead. Even though that is a little deceptive, because there's a lot of up and down on this bottom half of the trail. So it's actually more than 1,400. It's 2:40 in the afternoon, and I've made it down to the north boundary trail split. And according to this sign, I've got 5.3 more miles back to the trailhead. It's just now 3:10, and I am leaving Rocky Mountain National Park. This took me an hour and 50 minutes to get out here this morning, so I am on pace to get back to my car at right around 5 o'clock. And finally, I'm seeing some wildlife out here. We got a moose just off the trail. Hey, buddy. I'm hiking back through the private property, which means I'm on the final leg of this hike. And I'm probably up around 18 miles now. And this is going to be the final uphill push at the very end of the hike. Once I make it up to the Comanche Peak Wilderness sign, then it's pretty much over. That's the end of the uphill. But my goodness, my dogs are barking right now. Whew. And I just ran out of water. It paid off big time to fill up my bottle and use my life straw at both Lost Lake and at Lost Falls. That preserved the water in my Camelback, so I had more when I was actually hiking. Almost there. Almost there. I'm knocking this out, getting close to being done. And even if those weren't Lost Falls, I still had a great time out here hiking today. I made it out to Lost Lake. Whatever those waterfalls were that I saw were awesome. I think I'm gonna get out of here in one piece. And the weather was beautiful. So there's nothing more I could have asked for. What a great day. And there it is, the Comanche Peak Wilderness sign. Oh yeah, the rest of this is all downhill. I can see the parking lot out there. Ooh yeah, baby. Ooh yeah. And there's my car out there. That's what I'm talking about, baby. I've made it back to the Dunraven trailhead. It's just now about 4:55 in the afternoon. So that took me 3 hours and 25 minutes to get back from Lost Falls. It took me 4 hours and 20 minutes to get out to Lost Lake this morning. And then it took me another hour and 20 to an hour and 30, I'm not really sure, to get from Lost Lake down to Lost Falls. And then 3 hours and 25 minutes to get from Lost Falls back to the trailhead. And that hike is going to be right at 19.6 miles with right around a 3,500 foot elevation gain. And that is the longest hike I've ever done. I hope you enjoyed it, and until the next one, y'all, peace.